So it looks like we finally have some closure on the tragic passing of Miss Jacky Oh, and we're now getting some answers to our questions. New evidence recently came to light after an autopsy was performed, and it looks like her doctor knew more about her passing than we thought. There's a lot to unpack here because we finally have the full story, and it's really heartbreaking. So we all know that Jacky Oh unfortunately lost her life back in June after undergoing a mommy makeover, but we didn't know the exact circumstances that led to her death. But one thing that we do know is that she was really looking forward to the surgery.
I want boobies. Like, I want to get my breasts done. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody told me, no, you're fine how you are. You're perfect. Leave me alone. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. 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 Anyway, everybody told me that, but it's my body.
Unfortunately, things didn't go as expected and she passed away the day after getting the surgery. There was a lot of speculation regarding her death, and the situation honestly seemed very shady. And many fingers were being pointed at the doctor who performed the surgery, Dr. Zach. In case y'all missed it, a couple of days after her death, we found out that the mommy makeover surgery was actually free because it was supposed to be a collaboration between Jacky Oh and Dr. Zach. She got her body done for free, and in return, she would give him free publicity. And then people started noticing how Dr. Zach was moving in the days following her death. The first thing he did was delete the post he made of them together that said, "Getting ready for my mommy makeover with Dr. Zach. Stay tuned to my YouTube for the full reveal." And then he released a statement where he didn't directly address Jacky's passing, but went on and on about how his facilities are safe, clean, world standard, and all that stuff, saying, "To all my past, current, and prospective patients, PH1 Miami remains devoted to the highest quality medical care. All aesthetic procedures are performed in a hygienically safe environment to universally recognized medical standards. I am relentlessly committed to advancing techniques in the realm of plastic surgery." He went on to say, "Most importantly, my staff and I ensure that each patient is vetted, prepped, and treated according to their individual patient history prior to any surgery. Our mission is to help our patients achieve the best possible results in the safest and most medically appropriate way possible." This came across as super insensitive. I mean, a woman with small kids literally lost her life after getting a procedure done at his facility, but he couldn't even be bothered to spare one line in his statement to offer his condolences? He got dragged for filth because he was too concerned with making sure that people didn't think badly about him and his hospital to pay his respect to Jacky. Now, I get that the police were doing their police stuff and investigating the circumstances that led to her death, and his lawyers probably told him to watch what he said so he didn't get into legal troubles. But there are hundreds of ways that he could have expressed his condolences and maybe talked about how he was cooperating with the authorities and all that. He could have even had his lawyers draft up something if he was so scared of incriminating himself, so there was no excuse for him to be so insensitive. Anyways, the investigation was finally concluded, and it was just as we thought, because the autopsy did, in fact, reveal that Jacky Oh passed away from post-surgery complications. According to TMZ, Jacky Oh had gone to Dr. Zach in Miami for a liposuction and a BBL, and the initial surgery had gone well. After the surgery, she was prescribed an antibiotic, oxycodone for pain, as well as anti-nausea medication. The surgery was done on May 30th and she was released to go home. However, she started getting really bad headaches the next day, May 31st, so she decided to go back to the hospital for a follow-up appointment. TMZ reports that she was asked to stop taking the anti-nausea medication and start taking ibuprofen. She was still in pain from the surgery, so she decided to get a massage to help alleviate the pain. But that didn't do much help for her pain, and by the night of May 31st, Jacky began to feel her head was burning and began to have difficulty speaking. Jacky was with her aunt, who called 911, but Jacky went unresponsive before they arrived and was pronounced dead at the hospital at 11 p.m. And according to the autopsy results that were released recently, it showed that Jacky has swelling in her brain and extensive bleeding on the skin around her torso. Now, the bleeding around her torso is actually normal because, like I said, she had a liposuction done as well as a BBL, and small incisions need to be made on the torso to get the fat out. But the part that isn't normal is the swelling in the brain. This isn't a normal surgery complication, and according to some experts, the cause of this is typically an infection that she caught during the surgery. Now, I'm not saying that's what led to Jacky's unfortunate passing because we don't know for sure, but it would certainly explain why Dr. Zach felt the need to jump on Instagram to say that his facilities are clean and world standard. It's just a very sad turn of events, and it makes me wonder how they didn't figure out at her post-op appointment that there was something wrong and she was having complications. especially since she passed the very same day of the appointment. It kind of makes us question the standard of post-op care, especially since there have been complaints from other patients from the facility that post-op care isn't as thorough as it should be. Fans have been pointing out how crazy it is that neither Dr. Zach nor the nurses figured out that something was wrong with Jacky. But to be fair to them, it's quite normal to have some pain after surgery, so they probably thought it was that. But again, Dr. Zach has been called out numerous times for poor post-op services. A former patient said, "I waited about 2 to 3 years to get surgery with Dr. Zach, expecting great results, and finally got to do the surgery with him at a glamorous facility. A month in, I developed a lot of hardness and lumps, paying additional fees to get rid of. 2 months in, I reached out to Dr. Zach and no response. I reached back out to the facility and was informed Dr. Zach had left the facility and pretty much neglected all the patients he had just performed surgery on. No post-op was given to me. I reached out via IG again to numerous pages of Dr. Zach, only to see he has read and ignored." Another former patient actually sued him for almost costing her life during surgery, and according to court documents, Oka perforated plaintiff's small bowel and caused life-threatening physical injuries. As a direct and proximate cause of said breach, plaintiff has endured pain and suffering, incurred significant medical bills and expenses, and will be forced to undergo additional operations and medical procedures to recover from the harm inflicted upon her by 4Beauty. Immediately after her surgery, plaintiff began experiencing excruciating pain and swelling. None of her concerns were addressed by Oka or the staff at 4Beauty. Plaintiff was diagnosed to have gone into septic shock and kidney failure. So like I said, Jacky is not the first to have complications and poor post-op care. And it's just sad that she was in so much pain in her final hours. Fans have slammed Dr. Zach, and they left comments saying, "That doctor butchered her. He probably had no clue what he was doing. Why wasn't she in the hospital after such a major surgery?" The fact that he basically prescribed her Advil for the headaches just lets us know how terrible he is. The doctor should be liable. He should have admitted her in the hospital immediately. She was also on antibiotics and probably died of septic shock. And so to sum it up, that plastic surgeon is totally responsible for her passing and knew exactly what the surgery does to the brain. He was negligent and should be stripped of his license so this never happens to anyone else. But do you guys think that Dr. Zach needs to be held accountable for Jacky Oh's passing? Or do you think that it's just something that happens in surgery? Drop your thoughts in the comments, then check out this next video.